So, Mitch, tell us, you're not of Hispanic descent, and yet you got extremely involved with all this story. How was the genesis of this film? How it was born in your mind first, in your spirit, and how it came to be reality?
Right. It all came about through my friendship with Nelida, who I met 18 years ago in New York. She was here about 1 year. She'd arrived from Peru, and I was a volunteer English teacher, and we met. I was trying to learn Spanish, and I was looking for somebody to do Spanish-English exchange. So we met, and I became friends with her, and she kind of introduced me into this, Peruvian immigrant world that I really didn't know anything about. And over the years, I got to know them, and then many years later, I was working in Lincoln Center with Marcela, your colleague who co-curated this, and Nelly told me that she had a dream to go back and be the host of her Fiesta Patronal, and I had thought in my mind for a long time I maybe wanted to try making a movie, not just market other people's movies. And I decided to follow her and had an intuition that maybe something interesting would happen, this journey back.
And what was your experience with filmmaking before doing this movie?
I was in, when I was a high school, I had a Super 8 camera, and I took little movies for school projects. And then when I was working at Lincoln Center, this actually has to do with my own family, because my grandmother was still alive, and I wanted to record her stories.
And your grandmother was from?
Poland. So she was an immigrant. So I was, I was used to being like in an immigrant world,
right?
My whole life. And I bought a high-8 camera, to really preserve her stories. And then I took a couple of classes. But this is all to say I didn't really have very much experience in the craft of filmmaking, and which is why I had to work with other people. It's collaborative, and I learned. I made a lot of mistakes.
And how long the process for this movie?
It took a long time. It was 6 years. Not unusual for documentaries, but still a long time.
And so you started getting the idea of doing a film through your friendship with Nelly. And how did Cynthia came into the other character? This
okay, yeah. When we started the movie, I didn't know Cynthia, and we were a year and a half into it. We had started to edit about 25 hours of material, which was all focused on the Fiesta Patronal and Nelly's journey. But we had put up a website, to start creating awareness. And one day I got a phone call from Cynthia, out of the blue. She had seen the website. Somebody had told her about it.
As the movie shows.
As the movie shows.
The movie where Cynthia is looking at the website and says, man, appears Soy Andina. So that's how it really is.
That's how it really happened. And she said, oh my God, I have this dream of going back to Peru, and I can't believe I found you guys. I'd love to meet you. So we all met, and it didn't occur to me right away that she would be like a character in the movie. But then I got to know her, and I really did like her story. So I decided to start following her story and incorporate it in, but only the phase when she was in New York, because I didn't actually expect her to win a Fulbright and go to Peru and keep shooting and shooting. Mm-hmm. It was just the idea of including a sort of New York Peruvian girl to kind of give another perspective, of the experience of having Peruvian roots. But she got the Fulbright, and then my plan was to just go to Lima with her, just to kind of finish her story there when she arrives. And when I got to Lima, I realized her story was just beginning. So I changed all my plans. I postponed the editing. I sublet my apartment, and I moved to Peru. And
for how long you were in Peru?
Well, I was going back and forth for years, but that particular chunk of time was almost a year. I was basically there during the year that she was.
So there's at least 2 travels back and forth from Peru, the movie, right?
That's right. Now the thing is, in reality, Nelly's journey and Cynthia's journey happened 3 years apart. But for the purposes of good storytelling, we decided to make the stories seem like they were happening in parallel time, because we wanted to build a strong connection between the 2 girls. In real life they have a connection, But for storytelling purposes, it worked better to cut it that way. That's some of the magic of editing.